Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Once in a while I do these art supply videos. I have two other art supply videos that you can check out in the description box below. But today every once in a while, of course, I upgrade some of my art supplies. So I like to share some of them with you. Now I don't want to feel you guys to feel that any of these you have to go and buy them. These are just the art supplies that I use, not ones that you should use. Maybe you will hate them if you try them, and that's the case for many of other artists' tools. I've tried out other artists' tools and I have not liked them, so there's like a trade-off thing there, but I'm just here to show you what tools I use in my how to draw videos. I have a whole bunch of them, a whole stack of them actually in my drawer, and I don't want this video to be going too long, so what I'm just going to explain quickly what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you all the art supplies I use for my videos, and I'm going to show you an example from that video that I made. So let's get to it. So, paper. I use a whole bunch of papers. I could use copy paper, Bristol paper, even from the thinnest to the thickest papers. I could do it, but for my videos, I tend to make better illustrations. So I like to use a thick illustration, like this poster board. This is a Georgia Pacific. It's not very thick, but it's quite thick. It's thick enough so that the paper doesn't like scrunch up. And this is actually my Chip and Dale video. I used it. This is one of my first how to draw videos. But when I need a really good paper for a really good illustration, I would use Strathmore Bristol Smooth Surface. Now this is my realism challenge of a Swiss Army knife. If I had my Swiss Army knife, I could just put it right there. I did this like a month ago maybe, and I use them quite often. These papers, this Bristol Strathmore. I cut this in half, but if we look at the real illustration, the real paper size, it will be about 11 by 14. So that's my thing on paper. Let's move on to pencils. So the pencils I use is what any artist would could use. They're very cheap, and but they work very well for me. They're the Dixon Ticonderoga. They're 2HB, and I use them because they're soft and soft core, and I could get very hard lines with them, but I could also get very soft lines with them. So I use pencils like that, the Dixon Ticonderoga, but I also happen to use these a Prismacolor ebony, a jet black. It's not jet black. It's actually just dark gray. It's like a 4B pencil almost, and I use them in videos such as this. This is my Eiffel Tower video in 3-point perspective, and I use the Dixon Ticonderoga for the contour lines and the graphite pencil for the ink lines. I actually still haven't finished up this drawing, so I might link in the description box of that video. Watch Ian finish up the drawing in his art supply video. And yeah, these are just the main tools that I use. And bear in mind, this was actually a mistake. It was not supposed to be a cross. It was just like a rod up there. So that's my thing on pencils. Let's move on to ink pens. So these are the ink pens I use. I only use one brand, but I could actually use many other brands. I have a whole bunch of brands. I have this Pilot's pen. I have a Unipin. I used to use Unipins, but I don't anymore. These are the Pigma Micron, or is it the Micron Pigma? I use all tips. When thinking about art ink pens, you must also think about the tips that they use. And yes. I have many other Micron tips, but I just decided to bring these out because these are the ones I normally use. The 005, the very thinnest that these companies manufacture. The 03 and the 08. The 08 is my usual pen that I use, and I'm gonna show you some of the illustrations I made with this Micron Pigma. Let's see this Alexander cross-hatching video. And I also used it for my anime videos, which was my last video, my previous video that I made on May 7th. And I have one more. I actually inked most of my drawings, but I just want to show you these three. This is the Iron Man video. You know what? We have a clip in which I'm inking this Iron Man video. This Iron Man. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to cut it in right here. So you see, that was just a time-lapse video of me inking this entire drawing, and I believe that brings us to the end of the Micron Pigmas. I think we will go on and talk about, let's talk about the kneaded erasers. I'm gonna go get my kneaded erasers. Okay, so erasers. I don't have, at the moment, a new kneaded eraser in its wrapping paper, but I do have the one that you use when you use it for a while. This is what it begins to look like. When you get it, it's any normal square eraser, but once you begin to use it and start to knead it, it starts to look like this. And because the reason I use them is because you can erase the lines without any crumbs. I'm just gonna go back to my Iron Man video here. You can just erase away, and you can. I made these lines lighter there with a kneaded eraser so that I could, I can make a sense of light here. And because this gets dirty, so you knead it back, and you get a clean white. Just keep kneading it, and that's I think that's just mainly the erasers I use. I sometimes usually use the tip of the pencil eraser. Let me focus there. Focus. I use the tip of the pencil eraser, and yeah, I think that's my I think that's all for my erasers. Let's move on to watercolors and brushes. Okay, so watercolors are a big part of what I do with my videos here. This is a Reeves watercolor set. It comes in a 24 set. I just picked out these two shades to show you. And this is a brush. This is a Play brush. It comes in a set. I believe I got these in Walmart. Yeah, I'm gonna go through the many various illustrations I use. In which I use watercolors. I'm just gonna grab them right here. Move these illustrations away, and I'm gonna start with this one. This is the whoops, sorry, my tripod bounces all the time. And let's go here. This is City in the Clouds, a fantasy illustration. This is a mountain bike, an Everest mountain bike that I made. And this is my this is a Winterfield illustration. This is an illustration of Maine and the place where I was staying. This is maybe one of my favorite how to draw videos. How to draw a fantasy treehouse. I will definitely link to all of these in the description box below. A whole playlist of them. And this is my Japanese Spitz video of a dog. And yeah, I believe that's I have way more watercolor videos, but you can go check them out in the description box below. But I believe we shall move on to the next one, which is mistakes. Okay, so mistakes. What do I use for mistakes? When I make a mistake in, like, let's say my comics or any of these, or want to add highlights, I use this Posca acrylic marker. You have to when you first get them, they don't have actually anything in them. You have to shake them, like you can hear it shaking, and then you may have to press down quite a bit. And I'm just gonna bring out this comic panel thing here, and let's say I made a mistake right here. I could just white it out. You see that white just whites out, and I love using these. I've also used it for highlights. I want to go back to my let's see, my where is it? Here it is, my anime video, in which I added these little highlights, these touches of highlights right here, and that's all with the Posca marker. And I believe that will be all for mistakes. Let's move on to the next one, which is colored pencils. So, what colored pencils do I use? This is the Prismacolor Premier, the Goldenrod, and it comes in as like a 72 set. I love using them. I have used them in many of my videos. I'm just gonna pull out one of them. You know what? Let's pull this out. This is a chibi Luke Skywalker. It wasn't a how to draw video. It was more of a vlog. And you know what? Let's pull out another one. Just for the colored pencil stick. This is a Cola bottle. You know what? I'm gonna pull out another one just to show you how many colored pencils illustrations I have used. These colored pencils and the Goldenrod. Yeah, I test out a lot of my colors here. Yeah, and I believe that's the end of the colored pencils. Let's move on to let's see, what have I got here in my list here? I have rulers. So what brand do I use for measuring stuff? And in my videos, this will be the Westcott. Turn it around here. Westcott, the 12-inch, and I use them. I'm gonna go back to my sorry here. my fantasy treehouse video, in which I had let's see if we can pull back anymore. Yeah, I made these little this box where I put it, and I definitely use a ruler for that, and I also used a ruler for like making lines and so forth for perspective videos. And yeah, I believe that is all. Let's move on to art markers. So guess what? I have this just arrived in the mail. I was gonna open it, but I said, how about we open it on video? That would be the coolest thing ever. And I just brought my Swiss Army knife to open up this package and let you see what is inside. Maybe I should use the scissors instead of a knife. I'm going to just open this up, and now that I have opened it, now we can tear this thing open, and let's look upon my new art markers. You know what, sorry, I have to do this a little off camera. And alright, so I believe we've got enough of that torn away. You see that? Oh yes. Prismacolor, the art markers. And you know how many Prismacolor supplies I have around here? We have the Prismacolor Premier color pencils, and we also have the, of course, the Prismacolor kneaded eraser. But I believe this looks so great. This markers. You know what? I'm gonna open it. I'm going to show you what the supplies look like inside. Alright, so here we go. The moment of truth. I'm just going to pull out the purple marker, a Prismacolor marker, just to show you. This Prismacolor Premier. There are many colors inside. We have the yellow, orange, brown, and I'll definitely show this in a separate video, but I just want to show you. I haven't used this in any of my videos, as you can see. It just came. But one side is this fine tip side. The other side is this nice chisel tip. And it smells like a marker, as all markers do. But this is such a nice marker. I'm gonna try it out on. You know what? I'm gonna try it out on this blank piece of paper. I'm just gonna see how it works. Oh my goodness! Look at that. It works so well. So I'll definitely be using that in future videos. But for now, let's move on to another subject. Alright, so before we move on, I just want to clarify a little that these markers bleed quite a bit. So just gonna tell you that these markers quite bleed. So you might want to use the Bristol paper or the Georgia Pacific paper that I was mentioning before. Well, let's move on to the next subject. Alright, so I moved on. To my next my list of things, and I believe that I have forgotten to mention my other markers I use. I don't really care what markers I use, just as long as it is very good and good quality. I use Sharpie. Now I'm gonna use these for in the future. I'll be using these Prismacolors, but I also use this is a Y23 here. Let me focus on that part. There's a Y23 yellowish beige, and this is a Copic sketch marker, and one side is brush and the other side is chisel, just like the Prismacolor. Well, I believe we are nearing the end of our art supply video. We have one last one to talk about. So very much unfortunately, I lost this art supply. It was a highlighter. It was this pink highlighter that I used for this tongue of Pikachu, and I believe blah blah blah. You know what? I'm losing confidence here. I'm losing all concentration. But I believe I want to end this video by laying down the Dixon Ticonderoga. And you know what? I also want to lay down the kneaded eraser and perhaps a Sharpie, you know, the Pigma Microns, and I just want to lay down all the art supplies that we've used in this video. I'm just being silly, but I want to thank all of you for watching this video. Please hit that subscribe button if you liked it, and of course I will be back with another video next time.